Two companies in BC announced new licensing from Health Canada that would allow them to sell cocaine and psychedelics. Well, Health Canada then rushed to make clarifications, saying their new licenses were only for, quote, authorized medical and research purposes. There's since been further clarifications after the Prime Minister weighed in. So to bring us up to date, we are joined from Halifax by Michael Kidd, a regulatory communications specialist for psychedelic companies in Canada and beyond. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Oh, I thank you for having me, Anne-Marie.
Could you clarify for us what would be the purpose of medical research into cocaine?
Well, I think, we've seen a significant rush to the space around psychedelics and other controlled substances throughout the country over the past 5 to 10 years. You can even go back even 60, 70 years when these drugs started to be investigated for their medicinal purposes. And I think what we're seeing today is more of the medical application as technology increases, as the science increases, and the interest and even the capital into that interest in the space starts to increase, is having a significant effect in terms of how we are understanding the brain, how we understand neurocognitive disorders, and really trying to find a way that will allow researchers to identify different drug compounds in the psychedelic and other controlled substances space to help people with the therapies that they may need down the road in the future.
This all came down because of the word selling in cocaine that came from these initial press releases. I mean, that had the Prime Minister being asked if Canada was going to be commercializing cocaine. Other companies in this space, there's concerns now that they're going to pay the price because of all of the uproar of this from last week. How so?
Yeah, there's, as I mentioned, this has been a process. It's a nation space. It's a space that's taken a lot of time to build the trust with the regulator and Health Canada and government. And you're seeing a lot more progressive policies, especially in British Columbia, where you've seen some decriminalization of drugs less than 2.5 grams. And what we're seeing now is companies are, as they build that trust with the regulator and are having a look at how to take the next steps around the research and clinical trials processes. People are nervous from those press releases because, number one, as I said, there's some miscommunication, some mistrust around the whole concept of controlled substances and drugs and psychedelics. There's the whole war on drugs leading right up to where we are today, and trying to help the public understand where we are in the research and how that research can actually benefit. So, I think what we have to do is really take a step back. It was a bit of a black eye with those press releases, to be frank. I don't think it's a knockout punch, but I do suspect that the regulator will likely take this back and have a look at some of the wording and the communication on their own policy, and more importantly, how that's communicated to companies in the public and the private space who are communicating the needs and what they're actually trying to do with these drugs, whether it's investigation of molecular compounds right through to the actual manufacturing of them.
Yeah, and to clear that up, the selling was between companies. It was not to be on the open market. Those two BC companies in question, we're talking about press releases, are Adastra Labs and a cannabis extraction company, and Sunshine Earth Labs, that's a psychedelic manufacturer. Both said they're going to be looking at commercialization of these banned substances before sending out corrections. So why do you think their announcement went so far out of the bounds of their licenses?
Well, I think, sometimes when capital markets are involved and you have publicly traded companies who are trying to get the interest of shareholders on the retail and on the commercial side, sometimes those announcements go out. And this is truly, I think, a communications failure on their part. You're not to mess around with Health Canada dealers' licenses. This is these things don't get handed out like hotcakes. They are, to be taken seriously. And what I think happened here is maybe a little bit of excitement, some miscommunication, and that is a failure on the communication side of things. And I think that those companies are going to have to go back and really look at their own internal processes and have a better understanding of the things they say and the impact they have in the market. Because we did see, what's good for day traders isn't necessarily good for the public, and that's to us for those who are operating in the space, say companies like Optimi Health and Numinous Wellness out in British Columbia, who have those licenses and they take their licenses very, very seriously. We have to make sure that we're working together as an industry to continue to establish that trust with Health Canada.
Michael, we appreciate you coming on today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
We should let you know that we did reach out to Health Canada. Here's what they had to say in return. Companies are licensed by Health Canada to conduct certain activities with specific controlled substances listed on their license for authorized medical and research purposes only and not for recreational use. Health Canada licenses do not allow controlled substance license holders to sell cocaine, MDMA, or other controlled substances to the general public.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.